Hey, welcome back to the channel. Um, I was just looking at a couple of clips on Forbes Breaking News channel, um, where the House Judiciary Committee is holding hearings on the human toll of sanctuary policies. And the things I heard, wow. Let's just get right on into it.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. I recognize the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Hank Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm so sorry for what has happened to your children. I cannot imagine.
Just so you know, these are angel moms that are testifying here before Congress about the human toll of sanctuary policies. Their children were killed by illegal aliens. And now I want you to hear how the Democrats address that.
Imagine what you've gone through, and no parent should have to go through what you have gone through. All victims of violent crime deserve justice, but this hearing is not about justice. It's entitled The Human Toll of Sanctuary Policies, Stories from Victims and Families. We could very well have done a hearing on the human toll of the Trump MAGA tax cuts on 17 million Americans who got their health care access and food security ripped out from under them.
That is not what this is about, Hank Johnson. This is about dead children killed by illegal aliens.
So that the wealthiest billionaires in this country could get another tax cut.
And that is bullshit, by the way. It was not so the wealthy could get another tax cut.
Or we could have entitled this hearing or had a hearing on the human toll of Trump's stupid war with Iran and how it's making life increasingly unaffordable for people here in America, except for the wealthiest Americans. They can pay whatever the price is. We could have had a hearing on the human toll of Trump's desperate cover-up of the Epstein files, the toll that has played on the victims of that international child sex abuse ring.
I get all that, sir. But that is not what this hearing is about. So why in the cornbread hell are you bringing all this up? Because you're deflecting. You want to deflect away from the fact that you people now care more about illegals than you care about American citizens. It is clear to anyone with a working brain cell, and you showed your hand at the State of the Union address.
But no, we are here today, and not to cast any aspersions on any of you for testifying, but this is a Steve Miller-approved hearing whose sole aim is to stir up passion and bias and prejudice against immigrants who are people of color.
Okay. Can I remind you that the number one mandate for Trump was to get these people the hell out of our country? Because we had an open border for 4 solid years, and millions upon millions trickled in here with little to no vetting. We probably got sleeper cells in our country. We got all kinds of crap in our country right now, and our children are being killed by some of these people. And you want to make this somehow racist that we're talking about it? Kiss my lily white ass. You people have used that word racist so much when it doesn't apply that I don't give 2 shits about that word anymore. And I warned you and warned you and warned you that if you overused it, it would get to the point where no one would care. It would be the boy who cried wolf, where you're at wolf stage and no one cares. All we do now is roll our eyes because not everything under the planet has to do with race.
Now, I mean, we have had mass murder after mass murder in this country perpetrated by all kinds of people. But I just want to talk about those that have been perpetrated by white males. Robert Card.
This isn't about that. Once again, this is about the parents who had their children murdered by illegals. But you can't stay on point because it would expose how truly crooked you people have become.
Opened fire at a bowling alley in Lewistown, Maine, killing 18 people, wounding 13. Peyton Gendron, white supremacist, killed 10 people in a racist attack at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. Randy Stair, a 32-year-old suspected of killing a family of 4 in Romeoville, Illinois. Richard Dale Crum, a 52-year-old man in Arcabutler, Mississippi, who shot and killed 6 people, including his ex-wife and stepfather. 38-year-old Courtney Gordon, who stabbed 4 relatives, including 2 children, to death in New York City. And I could go on in terms of tragedies and victims of tragedy who could be brought here to talk about this MAGA Republican failure to do anything about gun control.
That's what they always revert back to. Take away the Second Amendment rights of the American citizens. Guns aren't the problem. Criminal mindsets are the problem. Mental illness is the problem. And when you enact all of these bans, the only thing you do is tie the hands of law-abiding citizens from having their rights. Criminals don't follow the law to get their guns. Can't finish that thought though, huh?
You know, I mean, so this is, even the fact that Mr. Romanucci, you are seated number 3 instead of number 4. I mean, normally the 3 Republican witnesses would be seated together, not sandwiching the Democratic witness in.
Another effing race baiter. I am so sick of these people. I have never been racist a day in my life. But I am completely fed up with what the Democrat Party has become, the things they support. This is not Bill Clinton's party anymore. It's not JFK's party anymore. It's Barack Obama's party. And they want Marxism. There is going to potentially be a civil war in this country because you've got 2 massive ideologies. They're not going to be able to occupy the same space. And as much as I don't want to see it, if it happens, it happens. Maybe it needs to. Because these people are sick.
In between you, but you know, you got sandwiched today for the dramatic effect of it. It's all politics. And it's unfortunate what my friends here on the other side of the aisle are perpetrating. Mr. Romanucci, the killing of Miss Good was not in a, was by rogue ICE officers, federal.
Okay, and you know what? This hearing is also not about that. Now, I am sorry that Renee Good lost her life, and I am sorry that Alex Preddy lost his life. But those 2, they just quite simply received darn awards. If they had not been trying to interfere with ICE, and in some cases actually in both cases, making ICE feel as though their lives were threatened, they would still be alive. Once again, this hearing has nothing to do with any of that horseshit.
federal agents who can't even be sued for, the damage that they have done to your clients' loved ones. That's wrong. That's why I've introduced the Bivens Act, which would allow people to bring federal officials into court and sue them against these egregious actions. There are many. Certainly, they equate. I'm not minimizing the tragedy that is before us today with you three women, but the other tragedies at the hands of non-immigrants, just as important. My Bivens Act would ensure that all victims and their loved ones can get justice, even if the perpetrator is a government official. And that's why I've also introduced the Constitutional Accountability Act, which would establish that federal, state, and local governments have the same respondeat superior liability that private employers have for their employees. So there's much we can do.
Once again, I am sorry that Renee Good and Alex Preddy have lost their lives. But they lost their lives based upon radical choices that they made. And quite frankly, the Democrat Party and their rhetoric has radicalized their base. I blame the Democrats for their deaths. I blame the Democrat politicians who have radicalized these people to the point where they will just do batshit crazy things and wind up getting themselves killed. The blood is on y'all's hands, sir.
To bring justice to those who have been aggrieved by tragedy. Congress, this MAGA Republican Congress, is incapable and unwilling to do anything in that regard, and that's unfortunate. I'm going to be the one who yields back after going only 11 minutes over. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Yes, that was 11 seconds over. Not 11 minutes, I would have been tapping the gavel. With that, Mr. Schmidt,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have some unanimous consent requests.
without objection.
I would ask unanimous consent to include in the record an article titled ICE asks Governor Pritzker and Chicago sanctuary politicians to not release criminal illegal alien accused of killing 18-year-old Loyola College student.
Without objection.
Also, an article titled Mayor Fry's sanctuary policies release criminal illegal aliens from jails back into Minneapolis streets to terrorize more innocent Americans.
Without objection.
And so too unanimous consent to include in the record an article titled Illinois Father Says Pritzker Shows, quote, indifference, unquote, to his daughter being killed by a legal immigrant.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Schmidt.
Mr. Chair, I have a UC.
Without objection.
This is from the Texas Tribune. It is from March 29th, actually my birthday, 2010. Houston, no sanctuary. Anise Parker, who was the mayor at the time.
Ooh, can I respond to that?
Thank you. You know
Sorry,
what?
it was just an
Mr. Gill is
unspoken
going to
policy.
speak next, and he is going to yield some of his time to you.
Thank
Is that
you.
okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
With that, I recognize Mr. Gill.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing, and thank you to the witnesses for coming here and telling us your stories and your family's stories. Before we get into that, I think it's worth saying that was one of the most disgusting testimonies I have ever heard.
Bravo! It was. And thank you, Representative Gill, for calling it out and calling it out to his face.
Have Hank come in here and lecture angel families about how they shouldn't be here, how we shouldn't be holding this hearing. What the hell is wrong with you guys? The reason they're here is because of open borders that you guys perpetrated for 4 years. And to come in here and to turn this into a MAGA Republican idiotic low IQ lecture is sickening. To whine about which seats they're in. It's disgusting. That said, I'd like to give you guys a chance to respond to some of the things that you've heard, and I'll start with you, Ms. Wilkerson.
Tell you what, I couldn't agree with what he said more. It is very disgusting.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that it was a spoken policy of Houston to be a sanctuary. It wasn't written at that point, and so the suburbs around Houston followed that same policy. And these Parker's kind of laughable to me. This hearing could also be about why we're not, or people aren't voting. You know, there's a slush fund for people up here in these places that have committed crimes, or people have said, oh, you've raped and stuff. But, you know, this hearing could have been about that too, but it's not. It's about our kids that we lost, and about the very fact that Sanctuary City Policies is creating a haven for people that came to this country illegally. Thank you.
You can put me in whatever order, in whatever seat. My tragedy is never going to be okay. I will be last, I will be first, I will be 42nd seat, if that's what you want. But we're so used to hearing everyone tell us, but we're sorry. Please, here are condolences, but.
She lost 2 children. 2. At the same time. To an illegal who murdered them. And they want to talk about people of color, white supremacy. No, this has nothing to do with none of that. It's because you people have nothing. You have nothing but let's hate Trump and everything is racist. And I am so sick of these people. I am so fatigued by them. And I am not alone. I am so not alone. Many ethnicities are feeling the fatigue as well. This is not a race thing.
This hearing should be about this. This hearing should be about me, but it's not. Today's our day. Hear us. Leave your butts in your seat. I don't want to hear your butts. Our tragedies are disgusting. I still wait for my children to come home. It's not real to me. My 11-year-old, my 16-year-old, they're waiting for their car to come home with Brady and Hallie in it because guess what? It's evidence. We can't have that back yet. My garage stall is empty. So the girls say, Mom, we still think they're gonna come home and tell us all about the concert and celebrating their anniversary. Because the car's not here. They'll come home, won't they? We can't pick a headstone because that makes it too real. But you can sit here and tell us about what kind of hearing this should be. Renee Good is not the same as Angel family. She made a choice. She left her home that day, made the choice. Brady and Hallie didn't get a choice. Carissa didn't get a choice. Joshua didn't get a choice. They are living American laws, the American dream. They're trying to make this place better, and they were stolen by somebody who doesn't care. But give me all your butts. I'm used to it.
I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I am not white. I wake up brown every day. I'm not sure what race has to do with any of this.
Amen. It has nothing to do with this. Hank Johnson from Georgia, you should be beyond ashamed of yourself. You need to take a good long look in the mirror and examine your soul. And I said what I said. The way you addressed these women, trash. Pure trash.
4. There's 4 kids that we talked about today, and y'all can't seem to stay on topic for what? An hour of your time? You got to bring up what about? No, we're talking about these 4 kids. We're talking about Angel families. Stay on topic. I don't want to talk about Epstein right now. That's another hearing. I don't want to talk about ICE detainees. That's another hearing. Right now, today, we're talking about sanctuary policies and how they have wrecked our families. Y'all come and y'all feed Carissa. You get her up from her bed using a crane. And then you tell me and lecture me what this hearing should be about.
Ms. Wilkerson, we have a little bit more time. Would you like to have the floor to respond to anything else you've heard today?
I just have to agree with them both. You know, this hearing could be about anything, and I appreciate that they want to get some things on record, but it's not what it's about today. It's about American citizens who parents try to do the right thing. You know, I stayed at home mom because I wanted to give Josh my values, my kids my values, and teach them right from wrong, and take them to church. And you get almost through to that point, and then somebody that shouldn't even have been here just steals their life right out from under you. You'll never understand the pain. I pray that you don't understand the pain. And it's about giving a group of people sanctuary from the law. Nobody gets sanctuary from the law. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's hard to believe we're sitting here begging you to obey the laws that y'all made. I mean, there are laws in the books. If we just start with that, we'd be better off if we just start enforcing those. But nobody gets sanctuary from the law. You know how to stay, you know how to not get killed by the police. Don't get involved in something they're doing. Makes it's pretty much common sense. But I just, I want it to remain about the kids, American citizens that have been lost. And I think this gentleman over here, Mr. Johnson, said that you could fill this room. You could fill stadiums. They don't keep statistics. They don't want statistics. They don't want you to know how many people have been killed.
Ms. Wilkerson, I'm sorry. I get to be the bad guy today. I don't mean to be.
This is unreal. But I have more to show you. Hank Johnson was not the only one to say something completely insane to these people. Oh, not the only one at all. Let's go on to what Ghetto Jasmine Crockett had to say. I'm not calling her that for any other reason other than her behavior and her mouth. I cannot stand this woman.
And I thank you for that. Does the gentleman yield back?
Yep, yield back.
Thank you. I thank the gentleman. With that, I recognize the ranking member, Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you so much. And I hear your rage. And I don't have children and literally have never lost a child nor had one injured to actually, really be in your shoes. But one thing that I can tell you about the redirection is because so often what we see happen is politicians play games. The reality is that if you are talking about a sanctuary city, then we're talking about city government. We're talking about local control, something that the Republicans used to espouse that they believed in. They used to believe in whoever lives in that city, you elect who is going to run that city. And that city, whether it's the police department, which is the police department and law enforcement that make the decisions about what they do. We don't pick the police chief for any given city. Not on the federal level. That comes from the city level. That comes from whoever the people of that city actually elect to represent them. I believe in local control. Same thing, I live in Texas too. And baby, I wish I didn't have to deal with Governor Greg Abbott, but local control dictates that he is the governor of our state. And therefore, we have state reps, we have state senators, and we have a governor, and we have county elected officials and city elected officials. We are sitting in Washington, D.C. right now. We are on the federal level. So what I believe in.
She's as good at this word salad stuff as Kamala. She is yet to make a single point that is relevant to why they are there today. But she sure is talking an awful lot, isn't she?
Is something that the Republicans used to scream, which is local control. So when we're having a conversation and a hearing about the human toll, the title specifically is the human toll of sanctuary policies, stories from victims and families. My deal is we aren't the ones that decide what cities do. So what they've decided to do is they've decided to play on your pain. And that is why I am frustrated. Because hear me when I say this. I have seen people, whether it was an American citizen or not that killed your child, or harmed your child, I believe it's wrong. To me, it wouldn't have made it any less painful. And I could be wrong again because I don't have any kids. But if for some reason it had been a U.S. citizen that ended up harming or killing your child, the pain would still be there. It would still hurt.
Yes, it would still hurt, and the pain would still be there. The difference is these people were killed by people who do not belong here. Y'all let them in, wide open borders for 4 years straight. The difference is this was preventable. This was preventable by not letting in all of these millions of people. And we have no idea who they are, where they come from, what they're capable of. That is the difference, dear Jasmine. This woman's an idiot.
So the reality is that what we need to do is make sure we are protecting everybody in this country. I don't wake up and somehow people look and see that there's a D somewhere around my head or something, and so therefore I am going to somehow be precluded from harm becoming me. When I go out to do policy work, and I've worked on the state level too, the policies that I was writing when I was on the state level are different from the federal level because we have different levels of control. The one thing that we do have control of, you may have recognized that the DHS secretary, as we're talking about immigration, she had to come before this committee. I want to say maybe a day or two after she came before our committee, because we have jurisdiction over her. We don't have jurisdiction over your mayors. We have jurisdiction over her. She lost her job. The DHS secretary is gone. Now, to be clear about this, the Republican president is the one that put her out of her job because she was failing. So the reason that my colleagues have brought these things up, and this isn't to say that the harm and the hurt that you are feeling, that you should not be feeling that. It is wrong. Again, even as a criminal defense attorney, I can't tell you how many times I was begging clients to enter pleas. In fact,
do you really believe that for 1 second? That she was begging her clients to enter pleas as a criminal defense attorney? I don't think she was. Because she holds herself in such high esteem that I'm sure she thought no matter what, she could get anybody off. This woman drinks out of a coffee mug with her face on it. Not kidding.
it literally made me remember a case that I had with a guy who was a veteran. He had served this country. He ended up being put on some new medication, and he also ended up drinking with that medication. Now, the medication had a warning on the bottle. But he went out, he drove, and he killed someone's mother. That client told me he had no criminal history. He told me over and over and over, he said, just give me whatever they're gonna give me. They offered him the max, which was 20 years, and I could not in good conscience, knowing that a jury would not give him the max. The only reason we went to trial is because the prosecutor wanted to be so greedy. That jury did not give him 20. He was willing to take 15 years. I am here to tell you that it is never right to break any of our laws. So the reason that we have gone down the line and the reason that we brought Mr. Romanucci is because we actually have control over CBP and DHS. It's just, and ICE. It's just that these guys don't want to exacerbate, use that control. They sit there and they allow U.S. citizens and non-U.S. citizens to have their rights violated, and that is something within our purview. If I lived in one of your cities, in fact, I am in Dallas. Dallas has a Republican mayor. To be a sanctuary city doesn't necessarily mean that you provide sanctuary. It means that you're not going to do the federal government's job. That's what it means. They are low.
Actually, that's not what it means. Democrats intentionally house illegals in sanctuary cities, even though it's unconstitutional, but they do it to increase the census counts in their districts to increase the number of seats they have in Congress. Most people know that. Well, a lot of people refuse to acknowledge it.
Local law enforcement. And what it means is that they are not going to sit there and do the job of federal agents. That is what a sanctuary city means. But to be clear, again, and I have more articles, the city of Houston was not, when you talk about someone being a sanctuary city, it is an official policy that they are following. It can't be that it's one person. It's the official policy of the city. Otherwise, it doesn't work if it's just one person. I will yield. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your indulgence.
Sure. Yes, gentleman is recognized.
Thank God she won't be back next Congress, but I'd like
Just
Okay.
to
Brandon Gill, I love you, and I agree with you. Thank God she won't be back next Congress.
answer Ms.
I probably broke, by the way, they're not laws. I probably broke all kinds of rules today, just so you know, and I don't care, you know?
When Ms. Crockett said she doesn't have children, so she doesn't know, I mean, we're not wired to process the type of tragedy that we're living. We're not. There are no words. I will tell you, it does feel different when an illegal immigrant kills your children than it does an American, because it was preventable. It feels different. Not that I know that because I have had an American kill a child, but when something's preventable and your life is ruined from something that's preventable, it does hit a little different than what I would imagine it would feel like just a regular casualty. Loss in itself is so difficult. There's no words. Loss is loss. It is very tragic. What we're dealing with when it's preventable, when these people have done something and they weren't asked to leave. If I were to go to Honduras, where the woman who killed our children is from, and I would kill 2 teenagers there, I'm not getting any rights from the Hondurans. They're not getting.
No, she isn't. She's not going to get any rights from the Honduras government. And put her in jail. Lord only knows what their penalties are there. But the nerve of that childless woman to say that it's so different than if an American citizen had killed your children. It's very different. And as Representative Gill said, thank God this woman will not be in Congress next year. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share. I mean, this just absolutely infuriated me to no end. I am so sick of these people. They are evil. They are absolutely evil. Between the up-to-birth abortions, the transing of kids, and men and girls sports, men and women's bathrooms, illegals saying, when the president asked if the members of Congress agreed that it is their first priority to serve the American citizens instead of serving illegals, to stand up if you believed in that, and every Democrat sat down, remained seated, except one, and that was John Fetterman. He was the only one. He's the only one with any sense left. The rest of these people are just mechanical slaves to the new Democrat Party. What a shame. What a real shame. We're going to have to fight like hell to bring our country back to normal. Unfortunately, half of it's nuts. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. God bless, and good night.